This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to Formula Virtual Racing. You currently can't see anything on your screen for the time being, and I'm not entirely sure why. That's going to be fixed right about now, ladies and gentlemen. We are here for the Dutch Grand Prix live from the Circuit Zandvoort. It should be a very good one, ladies and gentlemen. It is, of course, not necessarily the closest championship fight, but we have a full grid this evening, predominantly of main drivers, and they are all going for another Formula Virtual Racing win. Joining alongside me for this evening's proceedings, as per usual, it is of course Brendan. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well, thank you. We are here for another round of FVR. I believe we have a crusty halfway point by now, so
Oh, we have. Good point.
yeah, we've done the first half, now we're on for the second half, and Luke Davies has a sizable advantage, which becomes even bigger when you realise that, well, after last week, Lewis McWilliam isn't really going to be around for that many races, or at least not as many as he was before.
Yes, that is correct, of course. Lewis won't necessarily be around for much racing for the time being. I believe he's going to do about 2 more this season, but we'll wait and see after that. But we are here anyways for qualifying at the Dutch Grand Prix. Luke Davies is currently on a hot lap. We have joined, we're still at the start of qualifying, but we joined as people were going on their hot laps, which is always good, so we can see some racing action straight away. Interesting grid this evening. We will have Adrian Tishy joining. He's unfortunately stuck on a bus somewhere in Canada. He should be home soon. We have predominantly main drivers, as we said. Of course, 2 driver swaps to inform you of. That is Lewis McWilliam and Sam Lewis have swapped. Sam Lewis now main driver at Mercedes, and Matthew Stott coming in to replace Glennon at Williams. That is the other change. So far, it's Tim Den Hyer at the top of the order. Enzo King then beating that. Another driver returning for a one-off here this evening. That's Tyler Davison, who's looking to try and get points for AlphaTauri. Here comes Luke Davies. That's going to be provisional pole. First man in the 109. On 108, apologies, it's a 108.9 for Lightning Luke Davies. Next across the start finish line is going to be Sam Lewis to start his next hot lap. Avesta Gobadi just running a little bit wide through turn 10. Yafin Panguru returns, still with a broken wrist actually has Yafin. He's soldiering on here this evening and goes to 8th spot. Davison goes up to 2nd. It's going to be one of the Aston Martin starting a lap next. It's Thomas Main, but the other Aston Martin, big talking point coming into this week, Brendan. He won his first race last week after post-race stewards. Luke Davies got a 10-second time penalty.
Oh yeah, Davies was deemed to be at fault for looked like a really, well, actually it's nearly worse than it was, because it was just minimal contact, but Davies did end up sending both McWilliam and Sam Lewis to a wall. And for that reason, we got to 10 seconds. So, what could have been a win for Davies, or maybe I'm mistaken, but he was demoted to 5th post-race.
Yeah, I think you're spot on there.
Yeah, which it's a great, but given this championship lead, it probably, if you're going to have an incident, it's probably when you have a nearly double the points of the next person.
Wait to introduce yourself though. Sam Lewis, provisional pole. Thomas Main goes to 5th spot. It's currently Sam Lewis and Avesta Gobadi on the front row here in Zandvoort. Lewis, of course, was very good in Belgian Grand Prix qualifying, and the race didn't really suffice, but I mean, the race was a bit chaotic. It was a bit mental, so it's not the biggest display of pure driver performance, I suppose you could say. We've had a few races like that this evening. It's been an interesting season. Leroy Van Schendel, Purple Sector 1, 24-1. No Dutch driver has won a Dutch Grand Prix since Legend Rosenberg, of course. As we see a Williams spinning round, that is Matthew Stott, I believe, who has spun round. Actually, it could be Morris Stumer. Who was it? It is Morris Stumer, actually. Stott's on the medium tire. Here comes Van Schendel. He's heading into Hans Ernst box of turn number 11 and 12. 48-2 in the middle sector for Leroy Van Schendel. It he's certainly looking to keep up this good form. A Dutch driver would love to win here in front of the home patrons, especially Leroy or Liam, because they've had taste of Formula Virtual Racing success before. They'd love to have a taste of it at home. But Vincenzo goes 4 tenths off pole in 8th. Gotta say, top 8 separated by 4 tenths is quite impressive for FVR standards.
Yeah, it is very, very close. Usually, obviously, sometimes you are going to a little more for field spread in terms of drivers, but sometimes that creates even more interest in racing because you can get people in positions you don't expect, and that can produce some brilliant racing. It's drivers who you mightn't think are that quick, but they know how to race other people very, very well, and can often be more so than those at the front who are more used to driving by themselves. But either way, the bunch we have here, it's very good. Tyler Davison, a man you rarely see in FVR these days, already P4.
Yeah, he's not to the league race on the F1 game, I believe, since Formula Virtual Racing Academy, which, oh no, apologies, that was his last FVR race, was Formula Virtual Racing Academy, which closed down 2 seasons ago, by the way. But he has not raced since another league, who we're not going to mention. We can actually, Virtual Racing Project, they're good friends. He's not raced since the season opener over there, which was quite a while ago, but he's back here and he's heading up towards turn number 2 and 3. I say that, he was practicing yesterday and unfortunately not showing. Huge bit of a slide there heading through turn number 3. If Daniel Ricciardo was an FVR fan, he'd have some horrible panic attacks seeing that little bit of a throwback of the car losing the rear heading in towards turn number 3. He's not lost too much time because of it though, so this lap still definitely could find some improvements on it. He's currently 0.270 off Sam Lewis at the top of the order. Sam Lewis has come in and is instantly showing that he is worthy of at least a pole position at this point. We haven't necessarily seen anything too impressive from his race pace, but getting pole and winning a race in a league race and in FVR is two very different things. In qualifying, you've got to be just the quickest over one lap for a race. There is a lot of tactical elements that you have to add into your knowledge of the game. But here comes Tyler Davison and heading up towards the start-finish line. Let's see what the AlphaTauri can do. He's found time and he's jumped ahead of Luke Davies and he's up to 3rd, but Luke is finding more time heading through the final sector down towards the right-hander. Has he backed off this lap? He has. Luke has actually backed off this time, I believe, or has he? I can't tell. No, he's still going. Apologies. Luke is still going. He's on a lap. Luke Davies, yeah, he definitely was still going, wasn't he? Because that's provisional pole for the young man of Estegobadi. 1.2 seconds down on his next effort. He's being towed, or he's towing along Enzo King, I should say. Sam Lewis has backed off his next run as well. Thomas Main improving by 0.2 of a second through that first sector. He heads in towards the sky flag of turn number 7. And he is up on his time. Not a bad run this so far by Thomas Main.
Yeah, Thomas, he could have been in the position to win last week's Grand Prix at home. But then again, a lot of drivers could have won last week's Grand Prix if you change 1 or 2 things. But it's interesting to see. Well, the Aston Martin team, it's very, very close once again. It seems these two are coming in very, very, very close in terms of pace, so interesting to see how that dynamic ensues, although that's actually Thomas up to 2nd.
That's a very interesting front row. Thomas and Luke Davies. Luke currently the better. Matthew Stotts goes up to 6th. Williams could do a few good performances. It's been fairly lacklustre, apart from that podium, the 2 podiums from Jake Marsh in Austria and last week at Spa-Francorchamps. Let's see what Estegobadi can do. Sam Lewis is not improving on his next time. He said he's been putting in a lot of work, a lot of practice, and he wants a good result here in Zandvoort. Gobadi currently tracking to go ahead of Luke Davies and to go to the top. Vesta says, Luke's the luckiest driver in league racing, and he's never going to win. Let's see, can he break the mould just like he did in Qatar and take the race win in Zandvoort? But you got to get pole first. Here comes Avesta Bardi. He'll take that pole. 1:08.5. And we're putting in some decent times here in the early stages, or the middle sort of stages, I suppose you could say, in Zandvoort. 1:08.5, not shabby at all from Avesta Bardi. Let's see what Sam Lewis is doing. He heads down towards turn 8.
Yeah, keep an eye on Sam Lewis, looking quite nice here. At the moment, just being smooth and taking a tight enough line, it seems, into that left-hander. But whatever works is the case here in these games. You see here coming in very, very quickly, a lot of entry speed into the, well, I only call it a chicane, but then that would the last corner here, and it's just a banked curve to go again, and just straight into the pit.
Yeah, Sam Lewis comes into the pit lane. He currently sits 4th in Dutch Grand Prix qualifying. Van Schendel's on an escape road. And he's come out in front of someone. Who is that? I think he could have impeded one of the Alpines. Andrew Davis has just started. It was Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who is on a timed run. Last week's race winner, Leroy Van Schendel, might be in a spot of bother here potentially, because he has impeded Jonathan Jurgensmeyer just as he was starting his lap. Let me know down below if my microphone is okay, by the way. It's a weekly occurrence at this point, but still, just want to make sure. Jurgensmeyer, he's been the lap anyways. Into the wall.
He's off, into the wall.
Yeah, in the wall goes Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, and that's a shattered front wing for the Alpine, but he can get back to the pits and do one more lap, but he's not going to be happy. Leroy Van Schendel could well be reported for that one. We'll wait and see. The AlphaTauri Davison back on another hot lap. He's heading down towards turn number 6 of Schlortmacher Bocht, I believe is how it's pronounced, and then in towards the Skyfleck. But he's finding time this time round. There was no moments at turn 3. He's improving by 0.123. In towards the middle sector then. Let's see what the AlphaTauri can do as we ride on board. Of course, AlphaTauri has always been deemed his car, despite him never driving it in FVR. That's because, as much as I would love it, FVR, or the world to revolve around FVR, it certainly doesn't. But 0.3 of a second up goes Davison. He's not tracking for pole, but is maybe tracking for a front row. He found a lot of time in the final sector last time round. Slightly misses his apex heading in towards turn 13 of Bocht. But let's see then heading up towards the start-finish line. Past the Dutch grandstands. Can he dislodge Gobadi from the top? No, but he can dislodge Sam Lewis, and he'll jump further up the grid onto the second row. Decent lap that from Davison. Davies is back out on track, but he's backed off because he's 5/10 down. Seemingly, as well, it said for the drivers that it's going to rain, but there's a 0% chance of rain. So that's interesting.
Oh, what's brilliant weather forecasting.
Yeah, it is a game by Codemasters, to be fair. That's probably the best they can offer. Thomas Main, Purple Sector 1, 23.9, seemingly. He's only improving marginally, but Aston Martin seem to be quick in that first sector. Obviously, Thomas and Leroy are working together probably a lot more than some teammates, as Andrew Davis has crashed. No, he's retired in the pit lane, actually, as Andrew Davis. He's currently 19th. That's a horrible qualifying for Andrew Davis. Main Purple Sector 2, but he's not finding time. There's a Haas-off as well. Not sure which one that is, but there is a Haas-off, and lets through the McLaren of Luke Davies. Both Haas's pulling to the side. I think the Haas was actually just pulling to the side and wasn't necessarily off. Thomas Main going to pick up a toe from Nils Hartl here towards the timing beam. As he breaks it, he goes quickest. 1:08.431. That Aston Martin is quick here at Zandvoort. He goes to the top with 3 minutes and 17 to go. Got to be pushing it here to see if he can get a final lap in.
Enzo's up to 6. That's not bad at all for the Mercedes driver. But I think it's time to give a mention quickly. Let's return to Tyler Pistilli and his qualifying routine. 9 laps on the soft tyres.
Oh, God.
It's a genuine race stint in qualifying.
Yeah, I'm surprised it even lasted that long. Although, seemingly, Brendan, soft medium is possible here at Zandvoort. So if it's an all-dry race, we could have a soft medium. Davison, King, Main, all out of qualifying. That is on purpose. They are finished.
We have a Mercedes off.
Sam Lewis jumps to 4th. Actually, No, that's Enzo.
Oh,
He pressed retire.
that's an on-track. Yeah, on-track retirement. Oh,
So Sam Lewis jumps to 4th. Gobadi and Davies, probably the two you'd fancy for pole here. But keep an eye on Houseman, keep an eye on Van Schendel, keep an eye on Matthew Stotts as well. No, don't keep an eye on Van Schendel. He's currently gone to Zandvoort Beach, which is the newly dubbed name for the apex of turn number 9. He's kept it out of the wall, though. There's a lot of gravel on those tyres. He's got to get it off them, and then maybe go again. Liam Houseman starts his next lap. He heads around through 1, 2, and 3. We'll be keeping an eye on him. Luke Davies and Gobadi both building up for their final runs here. We saw Luke Davies take pole in Monaco by doing it in not necessarily the middle of the session, but certainly not the last run. Thomas Main trying a simple or similar approach here as well. Luke is into the pit lane.
Yeah.
That's him done. Luke Davies won't start on pole for the Dutch Grand Prix. What's happened there? Has he picked up damage somewhere along the lap?
The wing visually looks fine, but obviously, damage that isn't visible is a possibility. And maybe people are just trying to get runs done early.
Or Luke...
Or we're on a timing glitch.
We could be, but Luke was blocked by what we thought was a hat off. Maybe he simply doesn't have enough fuel to go again. But Luke only going to start 3rd here. Here comes Liam Houseman to the line. Can the Dutch hero get anywhere? He's going to jump to 6th. Decent effort that. Sam Lewis is going again. So Sam has obviously overfueled the car a little bit here. Best to go bad. He finds a bit of time heading in towards Skyflak. Let's see what he can do heading in towards turn number 8 and 9. And more importantly, the middle sector, which is the slowest part of the circuit really here in Zandvoort, in towards turn number 10 now, which is just bocht 10. Bocht being the Dutch word for corner, I would assume, heading down towards the right-hander then. Avesta is up, but not currently tracking for pole. Thomas Main still doing a very good job here, unless there's something that we can't see and there's rain of some sort, something along those lines. I can't really understand why everyone has stopped so early on here in the session. Sam Lewis, I don't think, is tracking for a better lap, but here comes Avesta Gobadi. Can it be pole just like Qatar was? No, it will not.
No.
0.046 is the improvement, which is not enough for pole here in Zandvoort. Leroy Van Schendel starts his next run. Sam Lewis heading towards the line. Has he found time? He's not. He's a 10th down, but those are some consistent laps for Sam Lewis. Next across the start-finish line is going to be Nils Hartel. Con Dolger retires from the session as well. Both McLarens finished early on. Here's Nils Hartel, improves, stays 14th. Next is going to be Tyler Pistilli heading across the start-finish line. He's found 9/10 on this lap. Pistilli goes to 5th. Not quite pole for Tyler Pistilli. Liam Houseman dives into the pit lane. Van Schendel has binned his lap. He's 0.5 of a second down. What can Wongfi Anderson do here heading through the final corners? Keep an eye on Morris Stumer as well. Liam Houseman retires from the session. Here comes the Swede of Wongfi Anderson. Jumps up to 11th. Van Schendel is definitely done on his lap. What about Yafin Panguru? Stumer's pulled off to one side. Adrian Tishy stays to 19th. What about Yafin Panguru? This would truly be something magical if he could take pole. He cannot. The Belgian was not so successful at home. He goes to his neighbour's property and he's made it his own. Thomas Main is on pole for the Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah. And that's only his 4th pole in FVR. And that's a man who has been involved in the majority of the races in these 10 seasons.
That's a confidence booster for Thomas Main as well. He's not been a bubble of confidence recently in Formula Virtual Racing, but that's certainly going to sit nicely with him. He's in a very good position for this Grand Prix now. It was a very narrow margin, 0.035 between himself and Gobadi, 0.130 between himself and Davies, but that's a very interesting qualifying. So, the Belgian, on pole, here in the Netherlands, he obviously has an extraordinary amount of work to do to try and retake a stance in this championship fight, but that's one way to go about it. But we obviously, no points scored for qualifying. Thomas Main is on pole for the Dutch Grand Prix. It is Avesta Gobadi in 2nd, Luke Davies in 3rd, Sam Lewis qualifies in 4th, Tyler Pistilli in 5th, with it is Matthew Stutz in 6th, Tyler Davison in 7th, Liam Houseman 8th, Enzo King qualifies in 9th with Leroy Van Schendel in 10th. It's then Wangfi Anderson, Borbune, Tim Den Haar, Colin Dulger, Nils Hartel, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Yafin Penguru, Morris Stumer, Adrian Tishy, and then Andrew Davis qualifies at the back. Folks, the Dutch Grand Prix is coming up after this short commercial break. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Just as we go onto the grid for the Dutch Grand Prix, there's no time for a build-up, because we go racing here in the Netherlands. Very good start from Gobardi on the inside. He's looking for a run in towards turn number 1. Davies trying the long way around the outside. Gobardi dives down the inside. Gobardi leads the Dutch Grand Prix here at Zandvoort. Davies looking for it up the inside of Thomas Main. Main's not had a good race start. There's no temperature in these tyres. Davies looking for the inside. He's spun round by Sam Lewis. His teammate from last week is the cause of his demise here. Oh, there's front wing damage everywhere. The virtual safety car comes out. Liam Houseman is out of his home Grand Prix, and Adrian Taisha's car is in ruins down the back heading towards Hugenholz-Bocht. Oh, that's a horrible start for McLaren, horrible start for Red Bull. It's a very good start for Leroy Van Schendel and Con Dolger, who are up to 4th and 6th, but Luke Davies has spun round and is down to 13th here in the opening phases of the Grand Prix.
Extreme. Now that might be the extreme twist that could make a championship, but that bit more likely for. Oh, so we got a full safety car now. That does at least allow Adrian Tishy to try fix his damage and join up to the pack rather than just being left 10 seconds behind. Well, there's been, what you would say is lucky in an unlucky situation. One
of the favourites, maybe, if there was a favourite tally for a home hero. Liam Houseman is out in the very early stages, and I really do feel bad. Enzo's out as well. Oh, Enzo's crashed into the pit wall. Oh no, Enzo, he's crashed into the pit wall. Oh, he's not going to want to see that ever again.
We might need a replay on that one.
Yeah, if we could get a replay, that would be brilliant. But unfortunately, we don't have the access for doing it now. But Enzo's out of the Dutch Grand Prix, as is Liam Houseman. Disappointing, 2 experienced veterans out of this race. But Gobardi got the better launch than Thomas Main, got up the inside. Well, he's on the harder tyres, so that kind of goes against the status quo that league racers usually give. But yeah, very interesting. A lot of pitters puts Davies back up to 5th, so he's not out of the running of this Grand Prix. Van Schendel pit for the hards, as did Sam Lewis, Matthew Stotts. Davison went for the mediums, as did Bune. Then Anderson went for the hards, and then from Jurgensmeyer down to Den Haar went for the mediums, with Davis going for the hards. I think from like 12th down was all for damage, because there seemed to be carnage everywhere on that race start. I wish we could get a replay of it, because I don't really know what happened, but yeah, it was pretty chaotic. Yatin Penguru saying, look at this, I'm up to P7. Fair play, Yatin.
Yeah, very nice start for Yatin Penguru. I believe he is up by 12 places. That's a lot of drivers have moved up very nicely. How has Luke Davies ended in fifth in all this?
Enzo King has said, not my smartest moment. Liam Houseman
Oh,
is saying, or he's actually talking with Thomas Main. Don't text and drive, kids, by the way. He's talking with Thomas saying, there was a crash in front of me, and some, well, he didn't say this, but I'm going to quote him as interesting individual, decided not to brake and put me in a wall. So that's what happened to Liam. I do feel bad for Liam, because Kyle Albert has a screenshot somewhere of him saying he's going to get a podium here, and unfortunately he is 20th and out on lap number 3. Kyle and Brendan keep tabs on everyone in this league.
yeah. If you mess up, we will know.
Yeah, that's including like me as well. That's including anyone really. That's including all you watching. Brendan has tabs on you as well. No, Kyle has also said to Yathan, focus on driving, because Yathan is very chatty in the stream chat. Let's have a read of some of the messages. Then Neil says it will have many safety cars. Well, I mean, he's not wrong, because it's lap 3, and we've not done a full lap of racing. Andrew Davis, 5-second time penalty for a severe collision with Tim Dunhire, and Tim's going off the grass. That's mildly concerning. Tim also has front wing damage. I think he may have been nudged into one of the Pirelli sponsorships by Andrew Davis, and unfortunately, all right on cue, safety car is in this lap, so Dunhire has to get a wing change and will be at the back of this Grand Prix. But I don't think that's going to be the end of this. I think we'll definitely get at least one more safety car throughout the duration of this race. But Gobadi, just heating the tyres and building up for this restart moment. He'll probably go on the exit of the banking, is the most likely spot for it. But let's wait and see then, shall we? Thomas Main will be looking to lead this race, because of course he is on the better tyres. Pistilli as well in third. Keep an eye on him, with a lot of pitters from the top group, and of course Luke Davies, his incident for example. There will be a bit of a shuffle up in the grid, it seems. It was Sam Lewis that spun Davies as well, so Sam may be in some trouble from the post-race stewards, but Gobadi weaving his way towards the start-finish line, and we go racing here in the Netherlands. Great restart for Con Dolger. He's up alongside Tyler Pistilli, heading in towards turn number 1. Pistilli, big dive on the inside of Thomas Main, just puts the brakes on and applies them at the right point to make sure the Aston Martin's not sent off into the gravel trap, and that's all clean through there. Matthew Stott, oh, there's another car around, that's Sam Lewis, who's been hit and gone round, and there's a Ferrari in the wall as well. That's Wongfi Anderson. There's more front wing damage for Adrian Tishy, and we're under the virtual safety car again.
Oh dear. And we have to see if this one will turn into a full.
Hopefully not.
We'll be praying it turns full. But yeah, especially something like Adrian. No front wing again. You're wondering how much do you have to go through before this stops.
Yeah, and that was all just pure carnage as well. There were 2x2 going into Hugenholt's box. I think we're going to stay in the VSC here, meaning we will be going racing quicker. But if your name is Adrian Taishi, if your name is Tim Dunhire, if your name is Wongfi Anderson, although Wongfi does actually look scot-free, so I'd love to know what's happened to that Red Bull of Adrian Tishy. The fact it's literally just crumbling to pieces whenever another car comes near it, seemingly. We're going to stay in the VSC, meaning there'll be no full safety car procedures again. Avesta Gobadi will still lead it, but he won't have to lead a restart. It was a great initial launch from Con Dolger, but he wasn't able to make a move because Pistilli put his car on the inside of Thomas Main's, so Dolger did not have enough space to go for it. Con lets Luke Davies through, heading in towards turn number 1. We go racing once again. Gobadi gets the fastest lap, which is a 1:25. We're going to go a lot quicker than that here this evening. Luke Davies now ahead of Con Dolger. It looks like Con is going to adopt the defensive approach as Davies runs the high line, heading through turn 3. Van Schendel and Matthew Stott side by side. Here comes Leroy Van Schendel. Can he get the job done? He can. Remember, Leroy is top of those who have already done their mandatory tyre change in the pit lane. So Leroy, effectively, the race leader at this point, once those in front come into the pit lane. Very slow in front. Con Dolger looking to back up Morris Stumer and Leroy Van Schendel. Van Schendel looking for it on the inside. Davison making a move on Stotts in the background. Van Schendel trying it the long way around the outside. Last week's race winner trying an audacious send here, heading through turn number 10, still on the inside, down towards Hans Ernst Blocked. Can he get late on the brakes and alongside the Williams? He absolutely can. That's a great piece of racing. Van Schendel up to 6th.
Yeah, and Davison will be trying to get past Moss Stumer here very, very quickly.
Oh, here comes
because you
Pistilli.
don't really want to caught behind, and he's actually going to like have a look at it on the outside of the bank.
Oh, Pistilli down the inside of Thomas Main. Tyler Pistilli's up to second on this one, down to what Brendan was talking about. Davison dives up the inside of Stumer. Oh, that was lucky to not have a slide. He was very close on the inside of that Williams machine. He is, of course, in between two of them. As look at this, Main back round the outside. The Tyler Pistilli. Main wasn't behind for long. I think he got it done maybe down the inside around the outside, Fernando Alonso-esque style, in towards turn 3 of Hugenholtz-Bock. But as we head down towards turn number 8, it is still Thomas Main ahead. Liam has left the session, unfortunately for him, but I just gotta say, up the front, Avesta Badi, this is phenomenal pace on the hard tyres.
Yeah, it is very, very good. However, I suppose with a safety car in that, you do get a chance to warm them up without losing a place.
Oh, Vinchendel and Karen Dolger looking to defend from a threat to his teammate. Dolger does defend it for the time being, but the Dutchman of Leroy Vinchendel is looking to put on a show for the home faithful here in Zandvoort, and the man in 6th spot is looking to get past one McLaren, so he has the opportunity to attack the other. Cam Dolger with the ultimate teammate games here. The Turkishman doing a good job of it as well. Here comes Vinchendel one to the inside, forced to the out. He's not given his option, but he'll make it anyways. Cam Dolger looking for it up the inside, actually tapped behind by Davison. Davison a bit hot into the corner on every occasion. He's almost made contact with Williams as well, up the inside and towards Hugenholtz-Bock. Can he try get the job done? Was almost attacked from Matthew Stotts in the background, but still parked behind Morris Stumer. Davison having some trouble overtaking the man on the older mediums. He's not going to look for it up the inside into the skyflak, is he? No, he's not. Stays behind. Vinchendel comfortably ahead of Cam Dolger. Natural pace, not necessarily the order of the day for Cam Dolger. It's not on the menu, but he is doing a good job defending around a fairly tight track, which can promote this style of driving. Quite slow for the corner at turn 10, but that forced Stumer to have to lift off the gas pedal, and will allow Tyler Davison to try and have a look up the inside of Stumer. No, not quite for the time being. Up the front as well, of course, Avesta Badi, 5/10 clear of Thomas Main, who is under threat from Tyler Pistilli, is what I should have said. But look at this, Main burning his battery. Thomas Main wants to lead this Dutch Grand Prix, trying it round the outside, heading in towards turn number 1. Badi forces him the long way round the outside. He's not able to find that long way. Looks for the inside in towards turn 3. Further in the background, Hartle and Pinguru battling in towards that first corner as well. Badi, he does follow. Oh, Davison up the inside. Oh, they've both gone sideways. Neither hit the wall. Oh, but the other Williams has gone round now and does hit the wall. That was completely unannounced from Matthew Stotts. He just completely lost it, trying to avoid his teammate, and it was Davison and Stumer that made contact, but it's Stotts that ends up in the wall.
Well, I think what happened is maybe you got Stotts might have been caught out by the contact between Davison and Stumer, and that's probably what maybe him trying to make sure he avoided both of the cars, and by doing so you just go to the wall. Let's see, will Main go for the move again? He's using a lot of battery where Badi isn't, and he's straight through.
Keep an eye on Pistilli.
Playing the long game here.
Look at Pistilli gaining. Here comes Pistilli up the inside. The Canadian wants another spot as well. Is Badi going to go from first to third for the first corner? No, he might actually defend the lead here. Does he? No, backs out. Lets the two medium tire runners through. Pistilli up to second now. Main in first. Oh, safety car. Safety car. It's Yathan Panguru, I believe. It is Yathan, who's gone round heading for the first corner. He's actually hit the wall before the first corner. That's a really weird incident. He was battling with Morris Stumer, and I think the two Germans may have collided. The three Germans actually. Nils Hartel's in that battle as well. Oh, that's a really weird one, but we're in a safety car again here for the Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah, indeed we are, and that was a little weird. Not sure what that it's going for exactly, but I think it's just daybreak as opposed to someone being out, obviously via front wing. But for Adrian Tishy, it's maybe third time is the charm. You might just get back into this race.
Just saw a clip from Liam Houseman about the race start. I don't even really... What happens is, Sam spins Luke, everyone breaks, and then everyone's braking. There's a Williams halfway across the track. There's about 4 cars sideways, and then someone just doesn't brake, just drives straight into Houseman. He's sent into the wall. It's a really weird one. It's going to be a busy one for the stewards, but let's wait and see. Okay, so top 6 all in the pits. Main, Gobadi, Davies, Pistilli, Vincendel, Davison, Sam Lewis has stayed out. So Lewis staying out, as has Jurgens Meyer. So let's see the order here. Con Dolger going to lose some spots due to a double stack, as is Vincendel. Vincendel, no, he's actually not lost anything. So Vincendel comes out ahead of Davison. Dolger comes out ahead of Stumer. There's Niels Hartl, who comes out in 12th. Panguru with the wing change. We think he is the cause of this safety car, but we will have to wait and see. But Sam Lewis, technically, going to lead a lap here in his second ever Formula Virtual race. That's not bad going. But both of the Alpines trying to cook something up here. They've both stayed out under the safety car.
Yeah, they going to try maybe something unorthodox. Obviously, they have made a stop, so maybe they're going to try to take advantage of that fact. We do remember, is it season 6, where Thomas Main stayed out on what you would call ancient hard tyres, and he nearly won that race.
Oh yeah, it was him at Houseman, wasn't it? It was kind of our first taste of Houseman being a competent driver.
Oh, well, that's really... Well, it didn't really work out for him today, but in all fairness...
No, to be fair, he didn't stand a chance today. That's not a diss at Liam. It was just his first race-winning opportunity. Of course, he won 2 races the next season. Yeah, in all fairness to Liam Houseman, didn't have a chance to even prove himself here in the Netherlands, which is rather disappointing.
Yeah, indeed. It's just things go... You just stop before you even get a chance, but it's very interesting to see now where this could go. Thomas Main will need to be clearing some cars here if he wants to just really hammer home this opportunity to get a win on the board.
Yeah.
You don't want to get past an Alpine here on the restart. Maybe get the next one on the start-finish straight at the end of the restart lap. Sam Lewis hit the safety car.
Has Sam Lewis just hit the safety car? We didn't quite catch it. We have an off-board shot. Let's have a look at his front wing.
No, it
has both end
looked
plates.
like he had from my view.
Oh, maybe nicked it. Maybe. Just a quick look at the championship standings while they're on screen, folks. Luke Davies, of course, at the top. Then it's Lewis McWilliam, Thomas Main, Leroy Vincendel, and Tyler Pistilli. But trust me, the gap from Main to hold on, I'll have a look because obviously the full standings available. What is the gap between? Because I know it's mad close in the middle of that fight. Main on 43, and then it is Marsh on 33, and he's down in 8th. So that gap is swapping and changing. Yathan confirming he's the cause of that safety car. But yeah, the gap's very close in the championships. Yathan saying yes, it was the cause of that safety car due to me getting straight lined down the main straight. Okay, that's rather disappointing for Yathan Penguru. One thing I know is, about this Dutch Grand Prix circuit here at Zandvoort, new tyres have an extremely huge advantage over old ones. Don't be surprised if this is like a Le Mans car cutting through the field for some of the guys on new mediums compared to old hards. Of course, Avesta was on the slower tyre, was doing a good job of it. He's now on the quicker tyre. Let's see what he can do here, heading in towards the next stint of this Grand Prix. Sam Lewis, welcome to Formula Virtual Racing Safety Car Restarts, my friend, because this is your first of potentially many. Lewis goes around the banking, keeping an even pace, and we go racing. You know what? He's got that quite well for his first time. Great restart for Sam Lewis, but Jurgens Meyer, last season's Rookie of the Year, still looking for it in towards turn number 1. Actually broken the grass, runs quite wide. Pistilli up the inside of Thomas Main. Main's been caught napping, and the Ferrari is on the Belgians inside, heading in towards turn number 3. Pistilli falls into line, makes contact. Gobadi and Pistilli both go round. 2 of 3 of the race win challengers, and the championship leader of Luke Davies all fall at turn 2. Turn 2 and 3 causes havoc once again. I think Adrian Teich is without a front wing again. I think he's without a front... Oh my goodness me, I think he's lost his front wing again.
No, he has a wing. It
Main up the inside of Andrew Davis. Main makes that one successful. What a chance this is for Thomas Main to get a race win here in Zandvoort. Pistilli down to 6th. Davies somehow got caught up in all of that as well, and he's fallen down to 17th in this Grand Prix. Gobadi falls to 16th. There's a fight back needed. Sam Lewis still leads this Dutch Grand Prix by 1.4 seconds over Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Thomas Main rounds through turn number 13 and 14. He's going to get past the Alpine here on this lap. Perfect restart for Thomas Main here. He is in a very good position to win this Dutch Grand Prix. Davison looking for the move on Andrew Davis, heading down towards turn number 1. Remember, he can go to the end here. Big dive from Pistilli. Pistilli's made some rash moves in towards turn number 1. They've worked out relatively okay so far, but I think him falling into line in front of Gobadi may be under investigation by the post-race stewards. Sam Lewis loses the lead. We knew that was inevitable. Thomas Main regains it here in Zandvoort. This is really all about what Pistilli and Davison can do here in this next stint of this Grand Prix. Pistilli he's got to look for the move fairly early on here, it seems, on the AlphaTauri, heading in towards turn number 8. Of course, remember, AlphaTauri currently running 4th and 12th, have no points in 7 rounds this season. They're looking for a good points haul. Davison, big dive up the inside. Gets the job done on Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Yellow flag in Sector 2. It's Adrian Tisci who's gone round again, unfortunately. Pistilli, can he get the job done on Jurgensmeyer? Jurgensmeyer keeps it up the inside. There's a bit of contact between the two, but Pistilli barges his way through. Lap 13 to 36. It's been a fairly hectic one so far.
I have to say, Davison down in, well, he's in 17th, obviously, with the incident, but he might want to start cutting through this. But never mind.
Oh, Matthew Stotts and Yafin Panguru are out of the Grand Prix, heading into the banking. I would presume that's a collision between the pair, and we go on to safety car once again here. This is our 3rd safety car in 14 laps, and that's probably why we haven't ticked through too many laps. Thomas got to be kicking himself because he had a healthy lead, but yeah, safety car out.
Yeah, and that's, well, considering we had a safety car, a VSC, another safety car, and now we're on another safety car. There's only one more of these left, and then it's green flag to the end no matter what happens.
Very true.
There's not many more. Yeah, that will probably play in the head of some people, because you know now that barring the game breaks, your safety cars, safety car jokers are not really plentiful.
Well, it brings another interesting thing into the strategy. Who comes into the pit lane then? I imagine Thomas and Tyler will stay out, because they will obviously try and go to the end and keep track position as expected. Sam Lewis and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer and Andrew Davis are into the pit lane. So reports that Andrew Davis's internet connection is not very good from Can Dulger. Alpine having to double stack here is not ideal, but I mean, they're going to end up pretty much near the back anyway, so it's probably okay. They're not going to lose anything from it. Maybe a spot over Timden higher. Oh, might actually lose a handful of spaces over Borbune. Luke comes into the pit lane. Bohr actually on a set of soft tyres. Well, that's another factor to add into what's been a very messy race so far.
Indeed, it is been a very messy race so far, and I'd say I'm not sure where Adrian Tisci is going to find the spirit to get back into this, because every time he's just tried to get going, something's happened.
Adrian's a very never give up sort of person, and no, don't nobody in the stream chat say the meme, but he's a very never give up sort of person, and he'll keep going. If you want to become like Adrian Tisci, you can get your official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise now from Simulus Clothing. You can find it in our link tree. You can just search simulusclothing.com. You can get yourself some t-shirts, some hoodies, some phone cases. You can get yourself a cup. You can get yourself a mug. You can get there's some other bits and bobs there. You can have a look. Yeah, make sure you do that if you want to be like Adrian Tishy. Obviously, Adrian probably not wearing FVR merchandise right now because I don't think any of it's been shipped yet. But yeah, you can do that if you would like. You can get your name and number put on the back of the jersey. Brendan, will we be seeing a Brendan 69 anytime soon?
That was a terrible attempt at a joke, Evan.
It really was. It was very bad, wasn't it?
Yeah, there's just no punchline.
No. I had a follow-up joke to that one, but I can't say it on stream. It involved Josh Verstappen, though. That's all I'll say. But
cut.
I own the league. It's fine. Lap 16 out of 36, and Thomas Main still leading this race because most of it's won under safety car, so he hasn't really had a chance to lose it. But could this man?
Would put a 0 on my thing though, on a shirt though. It'd be to no Tyler Davison's attendance, really.
or Luke Davies Championship wins. We're gonna get that joke in while we still can.
Yeah, we'll also be putting a 0 shirt for Liam Houseman's formerly Portugal Racing wins.
He's had 2.
That's a good bad. Well, championship wins. We don't. Okay.
Technically, has an FVRA one. Liam, I'm fighting your corner here. Yeah. The moral of the story here, folks, is. Oh yeah. Well, we can't really say anything.
Hang on.
The moral of the story here, though, is, folks, is buy some merchandise from Simulus Clothing, and you can become just as funny as me and Brendan. Let's get back to the on-track action then here in Zandvoort, as Thomas Main will get us ready for the race restart. Just realised, we've had 3 different safety car restarts by 3 different drivers. We've had Gobadi, we've had Sam Lewis, and now we have Thomas Main. But here comes Thomas. It's going to be a similar approach to Gobadi and Sam Lewis's. He's looking to catch out Davison, who is always a genuine threat here in Formula Virtual Racing. It's such a Davison thing to do, to come back and win, but we go racing here in Zandvoort. Sam Lewis's car is in tatters at the back, and we instantly go under safety car again, I believe. No, sorry, apologies, the graphic just hasn't come down. We're still green flag racing. Ignore the safety car graphic on the top left. Pistilli and Davison battling side by side, heading through turn number 3. Ferrari trying the long way around the outside, now on the outside, wheel banging, heading down towards the sky flag of turn number 7. Ferrari now on the inside, but the Alpha Tauri leads and holds firm in this battle for second. Main still comfortable at the top by 0.3 of a second. The 2 Haas's scrapping in the middle. Borbune's got past Den Higher. Longfi Anderson looking for an overtake on Con Dogger. Yellow flag in the background. That's for Andrew Davis, who has dropped to the back of the pack. Pistilli with a big move up the inside on Davis, and Pistilli's been really rash here in this Grand Prix. He is looking for moves left, right and centre, and there's a bit of a nudge between himself and Leroy Van Schendel. That could potentially be investigated by the stewards, depending on how happy Leroy is with it, and the answer is not at all, because he could have very easily gone into the wall there. But his Aston Martin teammate's going to be a lot happier, because he still leads this Dutch Grand Prix.
Yeah. Well, the score is 1-0 in terms of wins between the Aston Martin drivers this season. I think Thomas Main might even it out, and Gobadi's crashed.
He's crashed at the banking, heading through Ali Lundijk Bok. Avesta Gobadi has hit the wall and is out. The man who led the early stages of this race. Here. Yeah, and thank goodness for that. We stay green flag running. Avesta Gobadi is out of the race. Andrew Davis pulls into the pit lane with front wing damage. There's been more crashes than Monaco almost at this point. It's so interesting with how many retirements we've had. Poor Sam Lewis, I think, had sort of a Mugello 2020 incident on the safety car restart. That's why he's out of this Grand Prix, but we'll wait and seek further confirmation for that one. Wongfi Anderson still on the back of Con Dulger. Keep an eye on Borbune here, folks. He's very quick on that soft compounded tyre. The only thing is that's probably not going to get him to the end of this Grand Prix, but he's looking for the move on Morris Stumer, and Morris just sits behind and breaks out. Oh, that's a dive and a half from Tim Den Higher in the background. That was really late braking into Hans Ernst Bock. He was hoping the Dutch fans were going to stop his car there almost, because that was outrageous but somehow he's pulled it off, and he's pulled it off relatively cleanly. DRS enabled, Wonfi Anderson capitalising on some ERS and slipstream usage, down towards turn number 1. Ferrari are 3 and 5 in the Dutch Grand Prix. Pistilli third, Anderson now up to 5th, overtakes Colin Dolger. Luke Davies still in 12th in this race, when he has some bad luck at Zandvoort, not really able to recover it. He'll be getting flashbacks from season 6 here. Thankfully, he's in a much more comfortable championship position than he was on that day where he lost the season 6 title battle to the GOAT Legend Rosenberg. But Thomas Main still comfortable at the top. The two Tylers, Pistilli and Davison, battling fierce for second.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see who wins the battle of the Tylers. It was actually that Cam Dolger, he's gone. And that's one McLaren, both McLarens out with a point at the moment, so big
free wide here! Niels Hartl gets a double overtake into the chicane at 11 and 12. Bob Bune was going for the move, but then all of a sudden the AlphaTauri emerged. What a move from Niels Hartl to get that one done. There's a real backlog in the back of the pack here. Up the front, Tyler Squared going side by side and towards turn number 1. It's Pistilli who comes out on top finally on this occasion. Davison put up a fierce battle. Bune gets past Hartl in towards 1, but Hartl moves in the braking as Den Heyer goes up the inside. There was an end plate that flew off from somewhere, and now Niels Hartl goes off the circuit and is down to 11th position behind Adrian Tishy. Not too sure what's happening in the middle of the pack here, as it was Den Heyer's front wing, and Adrian Tish has been put into the wall once again here in this race. Adrian, it's like a game of dodgems at the back of the Grand Prix here. It's not extraordinary stuff. It's not what you should be taking an example of. It's very messy in the middle of the pack. It seems like they all have no pace, and they're all just colliding on the circuit.
Den Heyer's got no wing.
Yeah, I think he lost it in that dangerous move from Niels Hartl on the main straight. There's a battle between two stricken cars for 11th and 12th. Pistilli now right on the back of Thomas Main. I gotta say, Pistilli's probably the quickest man on the circuit here.
Yeah, very good opportunity for Pistilli to take a win here, but his namesake.
Here he goes.
Probably want to take an opportunity, but
here he goes. One Aston Martin falls down a spot, the other gets the job done. Pistilli leads the Dutch Grand Prix. Van Schendel up to 3rd. Tim Den Heyer retires, and he's crashed on the banking. Exactly where Vestago bad he crashed. No safety car, I think, for the time being. Luke Davies losing a spot. Morris Stumer trying it round the outside. Morris Stumer's got the job done. Great move from Morris, getting that one done. He's up to 7. Davies now down to 8th. It's not been an ideal race for Luke Davies, and he's not taken a race win, of course, since Monaco, and with his standards this season, that's probably too long a hiatus. But he's not looking the favourite for the win here this evening. If someone was looking the favour for the win, it would be Tyler Pistilli, but as we say that, he has a tank slapper heading through turn 10. Main retakes the lead. Van Schendel forced to the inside. It's an Aston Martin 1-2, or is it? Pistilli hangs it around the outside, and the Canadian stays in second position here. This is crazy at the front of this Grand Prix. This could go to anyone.
Indeed. At the moment, it's looking very, very nicely for Aston. A double podium would really put them in the fight.
It's going to be a 1-2. Pistilli moves to defend. Van Schendel up the inside. Yellow flag in the final sectors for Morris Stewart, who falls down to 9th. Pistilli defends the position. Pistilli's been very aggressive, but it's not stepped over the line just yet. But he's going to have to be careful of that. You do not want to step over the line, especially when you have such good pace. We saw Davies had a phenomenal pace, but he was hindered for that entire Belgian Grand Prix with the looming result of a time penalty. Of course, it wasn't intentional by Luke. It's not going to be intentional by Pistilli. And speaking of the devil, Luke goes up to 6th. But you don't want to hurt yourself in getting a good result by getting involved in a silly race incident. Avesta's expressed his concerns. He says, the worst race ever, unbelievable standards. Not so sure you've ever watched some old FVR races of Avesta, because we've had worse, but I do have to agree with him. It's not been a phenomenal standard here this evening.
Yeah, sometimes you get them kind of races, just things go out the window and you have to pretty much get stamped out before it gets any worse. But hopefully those at the front here can give us some good racing that we can use this an example, really.
Yeah, it's been good so far from these four, I have to
Yeah.
say. Although we're saying Pastilli is going for some aggressive moves, he's not killed anyone just yet, which is, well, the rest of them might disagree,
Well,
but
you'd like your drivers to not kill people in all fairness.
yeah, you would, but sometimes a bit too much to ask
Yeah.
from those at the back.
Yeah.
Adrian Tishy into the pit lane. I'm going to check the pit stops because I think this is his fourth. Is it his fourth or is it his fifth? We'll see confirmation on that. Is he going to pull out of the box now?
Either way, it probably feels like too many.
Yeah, it does. It's his fourth no, it's his fifth. It is his fifth.
Fifth.
So it's a fifth pit stop for Adrian Tishy. But in all honesty, he could still score points in this one, which is probably a bad thing, but he could still score points in this Grand Prix realistically. We're on 23 out of 36 here at the FVR Dutch Grand Prix. If you're enjoying the action, make sure to pop a subscription on the YouTube channel. Gotta say, there's been a phenomenal bunch of you watching here this evening. We're doing some great numbers if you're interested in that sort of thing, so gotta thank you for your support once again on the broadcast. But make sure you pop a subscription if you want to watch this every Saturday night. Pastilli wants another race win after his win on a Saturday night in Hungary, and he takes the race lead here in Zandvoort. Gotta say, these tracks really suit Tyler Pastilli. He took the win in Hungary. Zandvoort, probably a fairly similar one. A tight, narrow circuit where you got to be brave to overtake. It's suiting him here just like it did in Budapest. He leads now in Zandvoort.
Yeah, this is a big opportunity for Pastilli to get a win on the board. He's been anonymous this season, really. He hasn't really played much of a part. Mind you, he did get a race ban in the season, but apart from maybe Austria, we got a podium, and well, he actually has had some poor places, but in a way, he has been pretty anonymous this season. Not really been involved in too much aside from the race ban.
Yeah, that was that was a low point in Imola for Pastilli.
Yeah.
He's fifth of the championship, mind you, but really, no matter what the result this evening, Luke Davies has still sauntered away at the front. But Main will be closing in, as will Van Schendel, as will Pastilli, and at the time being, as will Wang Fei Anderson, technically. He will be closing in. Here we go, swap for the lead once again. Main on the inside of Tyler Pastilli. How fierce is Pastilli going to fight this one? Not fierce at all. He falls behind. Actually pulled in a bit early and tapped the rear wheel of Thomas Main. If he did that at any higher speed, there might have been a bit of his front wing clipped off, but no, he's still okay for the time being. In terms of battery, it is the Aston Martin of Main that certainly has more. Pastilli, just look at this, the pressure he's piling on into the Skyflak. It is getting very close between these four. Keep an eye on Davison as well. He's just sitting behind and just minding his own business, as well as Leroy Van Schendel. Oh, Adrian Tishy, he's crashed out and is out of the Dutch Grand Prix. We're down to 12. He's crashed through the banking as well. The banking is causing havoc here this evening, and unfortunately for Adrian, it's been a terrible race through no fault of his own.
Yeah. Luck just does not get any. Just don't get any luck. Things just constantly get in your way. Just someone right there when you're trying to avoid something, and it's them kind of races can drag you down. But that's Tyler Pastilli. One Canadian's misfortune, another Canadian's delight.
Yeah, he retakes the race lead. I think it's going to be a bit of swapping and changing between these two at the front. It's not necessarily a bad thing, although keep an eye in the background. Wang Fei Anderson is catching these. He is catching these drivers. So definitely keep an eye on them. Unfortunately, we are down to 12 here in this Grand Prix. So it's looking like there's going to be points for the... I say it's looking like there's going to be points for the majority of the drivers. There will be, because that's how maths works. But it's looking like there could be points for all drivers if we have 2 more retirements here in this race. Which is not good. You don't want such a high DNF number. But Zandvoort is one of those kind of tracks, like Brendan said, where you get races like this.
Yeah, it's tight, twisty, and people will go for moves you just probably wouldn't in real life because the physics of this game would allow for more moves and also equal performance. So you just get more incidents, but even still, people should be probably thinking a little more or thinking of what could happen if they go for this rather than just expecting what they want to happen. But you see now, and it's Thomas, he gets the gets the lead once again. So, do you think we'll get much more of this swapping now? Or will someone like Leroy think, I've had enough of these two swapping in front of me. I'm going to take a position or two here.
Well, really, it is Main and Van Schendel versus Tyler, because the two Aston Martins are going to work together here. Van Schendel has 100% ERS. Davison, close to the 70 mark. We'll put it on stream. Yep, 78.
About 80 now.
Whereas Main and Pistilli they have a good amount, like a really good amount compared to what usually you have at this stage of the race, but not as much as the two behind. So Van Schendel and Davison are just waiting to catch their prey. I think Davison is just maybe struggling a little bit at this stage to keep up with the pace. Obviously, when you haven't raced for a while, the race pace is difficult to keep up with, but he has a lot of battery that he can start to burn to keep within these guys. And just remember, Leroy Van Schendel's on the medium tyre compared to the hard. He's going for this one, he's burning his battery. He wants to be a wingman maybe for Thomas Main. Wasn't able to go for it. Pistilli looks for the inside on Thomas, but wasn't able to get the job done. Just remember, of course, Van Schendel is on a different compounded tyre. The hard tyre is certainly the better one at this stage in the race. And keep an eye on Borbune as well. He's done 14 laps on that set of soft. We know a soft medium is possible, but he's a long way to go in this race. Could fall down the order maybe a little bit due to some extra tyre degradation. Wonfy Anderson still slowly but surely catching these guys. And if they keep battling at the front, he could catch a little bit more and maybe introduce a second Ferrari into this battle. But still, Aston Martin 1-3, Tyler 2-4.
Yep, it's Aston Martin versus Tyler. But in this case, it actually is an even battle.
Oh, we are so bad at this job sometimes. Yep. But where else would you get two drivers added together like a maths equation? But here we go. Thomas Main looking for this race lead. No, Thomas Main is looking to keep this race lead. Tyler Pistilli is looking for this race lead, and he gets the job done in towards turn number 1. The Ferrari is up and through. At what point does the man in the lead of this race try to defend it?
Probably the last lap, really.
Realistically, yes.
Yeah, but maybe at some point, logic might give way to pride. But either way now, we have a nice Tyler sandwich with an Aston Martin filling.
We may also see a driver defend on the third last lap, because they want the other one to overtake on the penultimate lap, so they get through and get the race lead in the final lap.
Again, if you start playing them games, you might... It's like gambling in a way. It could work, but if you are gambling on red and it lands on, well, in this case, probably green, not great.
And Thomas has been involved in those sort of quotation mark games a couple of times this season, and he's not been the best out of it. But he retakes the race lead, heading in towards turn number 1. It's just another change, but Van Schendel goes for this time. That was a late move from Pistilli. That was definitely a late move. He could be in a bit of trouble for that if Van Schendel did pick up some damage, but he didn't, so I think all should be okay. But that was definitely a late move from Tyler Pistilli. He's got to be careful for those. We spoke about him stepping over the line. He's not quite yet, but anything more rash than exactly what happened, and that's certainly over the line. But it seems like this battle is heating up.
Yeah, it is heating up. Pistilli's probably will be thinking now, he might be thinking his head up the aggression, but mind you, it's already high. He could go for a very audacious move at some point here, but it probably won't be right now. I have to say, Tyler Davison, he's now got the full ERS. Van Schendel has decided to burn a bit. And now maybe Tyler has an offset here that could be crucial. He's only using a little bit of it now, but he's going to get the move done. And then mediums might be finally giving way.
Yeah, I think the medium tyre is starting to hurt a bit. Pistilli retakes the race lead. Davison's up to third. And it's looking ever so increasing. This is going to be a 3-horse race at the front. Vincentel, I mean, if he still took fourth, that's a phenomenal result, especially for Aston Martin in the Constructors' title. The Drivers' Championship might not necessarily be in the air, but the Constructors most certainly is. The Constructors' fight is still alive between McLaren and Aston, although I think it will just be, McLaren, Aston and Mercedes, but I think it will just be McLaren and Aston after this race with a no score from Mercedes. Very interestingly as well, there's a lot of people not so happy with Thomas Main's race restart. The final one, of course. It's been reported to the stewards by the Alfa Romeo camp, or more precisely, Vestico Bardi. So that'll be after the race. Make sure to follow our Instagram and Twitter pages, folks, if you want to get updates on the post-race stewarding proceedings. Because of course we will post as quick as we can who the official race winner will be. But Thomas Main riding to the final corner. 0.5 is the gap. Let's see how much he gains without using his battery. Just slipstream and DRS. You can see he's gaining and gaining, but he's not going to take the race lead on this occasion. Mainly, we're finally seeing a bit of an actual battle up the front and not just constant swapping and changing. Keep an eye on Davison. He is a shark lurking in the water.
Well, yeah, I was looking, maybe I could have been an Aston Martin 1-2 probably 2 laps ago. Might now turn into a Tyler 1-2. But I have to see now which Thomas Main can get that win for Aston and probably, well, even the scores in the teammate battle. Especially as Leroy has become, he's very, very near Thomas in the championship standings after last week. Leroy's holding on fairly well.
Yeah, he is. He is holding on fairly well. He's keeping with this crew, but he's having to use a bit more battery and a bit more, I suppose you could say, risk to keep up with this crew. But look, if there's a collision up the top, if these start battling, anything can happen. Tyler Davison looking close to Thomas Main here. Maybe Thomas starting to feel the tyres wearing a little bit here in this Grand Prix, but you would never know, because he's going to take the race lead once again ahead of Tyler Pistilli. Pistilli trying around the outside, but falls behind. This race is going to be won on the last lap, I think, realistically. Whether that be someone making an overtake or someone defending, this swapping and changing is going to continue until lap 36. Zandvoort always produces races like this, but never usually as close as this. Borbune and Morris Stuma are not taking the same approach. They're fighting it out, heading in towards turn number 1. I think Bune's tyres starting to fall off. He's 8 seconds behind his former teammate, Luke Davies. Davies is closing on Wongfi Anderson. He's looking to take a 5th place for the 2nd week in a row, but it'll be 5th on merit this time for Luke, not 5th after a post-race penalty. Pistilli right on the tail of Thomas Main, heading through box number 10 and heading down towards the chicane. Ferrari, of course, a lot of history around this circuit, not necessarily in a Ferrari, but their former drivers. Niki Lauda, of course, took his last ever race win here, and contrary his rival, took his first ever race win here, James Hunt, here in Zandvoort. Luke Davies was in his first title battle here in Zandvoort. His rival, Thomas Main, is looking to rejuvenate his last title battle here in Zandvoort. Davison looking for it on Pistilli. He's in the best position with ERS, but you're not going to be able to physically use 100% battery on the final lap in Zandvoort. He's got to start teeing this one up and mentally preparing for what the protocol is going to be to try and win this Grand Prix.
Yeah, you need to be managing this ERS, because he has enough ERS that could make a difference. Not just in turn 1, but I believe it will be turn 11. Will be in the end of this smaller DRS zone, and that could be the extra bit you need just to make sure that either you can get a move done as a last-ditch opportunity, or to make sure you don't get overtaken as a last-ditch opportunity.
This race is...
Either way, so you'll need to make a move now if you're Tyler, just to be the one at the head of the queue. Because if you're a second in the queue here, you're just not going to do anything. That's a little twitch from the rear of Tyler Pistilli and Tyler Davison. Well, now's your opportunity.
Yeah, you said exactly what I was going to say. The preparation for the final lap starts now, and Davison knows that. He's going for the race lead, going for second, so he can challenge for the race lead. It's Tyler on the inside, it's Pastilli on the outside. Can he get the job done? Oh, there's contact between the two. Oh. The AlphaTauri's through, and Pastilli falls to fourth in this Grand Prix. He is now behind Leroy Van Schendel. Aston Martin have a 1-3 here in the Dutch Grand Prix. We are heading through the lefts and rights of Sector 1 for the penultimate time. Main's still going to be defending from Tyler, but it's a different one this time round, meaning he doesn't know what tricks the AlphaTauri has up its sleeve. AlphaTauri FVR have not scored a single point this season. Davison coming back for one race. They're 4/10 off the race lead heading into the final lap of the Grand Prix. The battery's being burned. Davison with more of it. It is Thomas Main who has the deficit. He's ran a bit wide as well, heading in towards Hans Ernst Bocht, meaning an opportunity arises, but there's a slide of the rear for the AlphaTauri. Main slightly wide of his apex. Every moment matters heading into this final lap. Let's see, can the AlphaTauri tuck into the slipstream, use his battery for what is realistically his last overtaking opportunity? The switch up the inside, the Mansell dummy, the AlphaTauri takes the race lead in what can only be described as one of the greatest overtakes we have ever seen in the history of this organisation. What a move up the inside. Thomas Main's been left standing still. He's been left bewildered and wondering what the hell has just happened, heading in towards turn number 1 for the 36th time. The AlphaTauri just has to defend for a few more corners. There's one more shot, two more potentially, 1 into 10. We've seen Pastilli capitalise on that, 1 into 11. Haven't really seen anyone other than Nils Hartl capitalise on that. Davison,
he's struggling badly here.
Yeah, Pastilli's fallen off. I think he could have got some damage in that collision on the penultimate lap. Here we go. Main's last opportunity has the DRS. Davison defends to the inside. The AlphaTauri on the outside. Thomas tries to force it. He's forced onto the gravel and has to cut the corner. The door wasn't necessarily open. He gets off the corner. Van Schendel's ahead of his teammate. Davison rounds the final corner, heading through Arie Lundijk Bocht. The Brit comes when he wants. He wins when he wants. The one day Davison show dominates in Zandvoort. He wins the Formula Virtual Race once again. AlphaTauri not only have 1 point on the board, they have 20.
I think Thomas Main won't be too happy with that ending. But you have to say the hand to Tyler.
Tyler Davison is him. What a move to win the race. Although turn 11, questionable, going to be investigated by the stewards. That was bloody unbelievable. No one else in this league has the bottle to even try that. I'm sorry.
That was Hackett, Schumacher and Zonta without the damn Zonta.
True.
It was, well, the Zonta was arguably the wall.
Well, true. Thomas thought he had his number heading into the first corner. I have the inside line. He moved over to do what he's did every single lap to Pastilli, forced Pastilli to the outside, and Tony was like, nah, I ain't having this, swaps to the inside. Also, the two Aston Martins swapped before the line. Van Schendel let Main through.
No, what happened there was, I think Van Schendel slowed up because he may be thinking now, maybe they've agreed that whoever's the one in front generally keeps that place. It might just be an agreement between the Aston drivers.
Maybe.
But if something was to happen to Tyler, if he is penalised, it would be a Thomas Main win.
Yeah, I think they're thinking long run here. They're thinking of championship fight, who realistically has the better chance. So that's probably why he's been let through. We're going to try to hear from them, of course, folks. We're going to try and get a post-race interview, and we can truly find out what happened. But it is Tyler Davison. He wins when he wants. He comes back and takes a victory in Formula Virtual Racing. He really does make it look easy. It's 20 points for Davison because he did not get the fast lap. That was taken by Andrew Davis, meaning 11 out of 12 drivers got points. The only one who finished and didn't get points was Morris Stumer. Thomas Main takes second ahead of Leroy Van Schendel in third. Great drive from Leroy today, 10th to third. Pastilli in fourth, did get wing damage. It's Luke Davies who finishes in fifth. Then Swangfrey Anderson, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Bor Bune, Niels Hartl and Can Dulger. Then it was Morris Stumer and Andrew Davis. Davis picking up the fastest lap, of course. The non-scorers and non-finishers were Adrian Tishy, Tim Denhire, Vesta Gobadi, Sam Lewis, Yathan Penguru, Matthew Stotts, Enzo King, and unfortunately Liam Houseman. Brendan, what is your final thoughts on that?
You have to wonder, what is it about Tyler Davison and AlphaTauri? Because it didn't really happen before in FVR, but now we've probably seen the prime example of it. And it wasn't even a realistic car. So, having one of probably the best late race moves in FVR history, along with just the general idea of turning up and winning, which is something it wouldn't be the last thing you see then in real life, would be probably the 60s. It's, I have to say, it's probably an FVR ending for the ages, even if the race before it was not that good.
Yathan Penguru joined the interview channel. I don't think so, Chief. Right, let's hear from your race winner. Or let's not, because he has been booted out for some reason. Okay, hopefully we can get that fixed. Kyle Albert in the stream chat saying Tyler reeks of alpha male. Tim Denhire saying Tyler the goat. Lee Houseman saying Tyler, oh my god. Vesta, of course, we saw his comments. Somebody says, what a joke. I believe it's a driver, but unfortunately I don't know which one. Let's hear actually from your entire podium. Hello, Tyler, Thomas and Leroy. Can you hear us? Leroy, you're also on mute, by the way.
Hi, guy.
Right, let's start. We'll go in chronological order then. We'll start with our race winner, Tyler Davison, of course, who wins and picks up AlphaTauri's first points of the season. Question 1, what the hell was that?
What do you mean?
It was the move on the last lap.
What happened? Why? What went
What do
through
you
your
mean,
head?
why?
Sorry, I'll ask a better question as my job. What made you go for that?
Well, I just thought, you know what? It's probably going to be a one-off appearance this season, so I may as well go win it or bin it. And I just had a feeling he was going to move back across and try to squeeze me off. So I thought, you know what? I want the inside, so I'm going to have the inside.
Well,
But, it was...
in another question, which is slightly different, penultimate lap, a bit of an incident between yourself and Pastilli. Pastilli not happy with it. What's your thoughts on that one?
For me, I was on the inside. There was a little bit of wheel banging mid-con, but nothing too aggressive. I left him enough room on the outside. I don't know if he spun into me or what, if he touched the curb and came back on, but I don't think there's anything else I could have done different. So.
Well, there's no point asking you about championships or anything, because as you said, it's most likely a one-off appearance. But how did you find that race? It's been a while since you've come back in the grid. It's been a while since you've did a FVR race. Obviously, you went and walked all over FVRA, but it's been a while since an FVR race. How did you find getting back into it? Did you find it difficult keeping up with the pace? Was there new things you learned, or just what's your overall thoughts on today?
I think outright pace was rusty. But I think I've learned quite a lot on my time away. I haven't just been sat twiddling my thumbs. So yeah, I learned a lot, and I thought if I can just sort of sit behind the front group and be patient, I thought the race would come to me. So I thought I'd sit and save my battery, save my tyres, and just sort of let everyone else at the front do the hard work, and I'll look pretty at the end.
And one more question, because I have just thought of it. Turn 11, last lap. We saw the man alongside you, who is also here for the interview, of course, end up on the gravel. What's your perspective on that one?
I was on the inside, car in front, and it was my corner.
Thank you very much, Tyler, for that one. Of course, we're going to jump to Thomas and Leroy, the two teammates who finished second and third. Thomas, we'll start with you, of course. It was not quite the win today. Obviously, lost the lead on the final lap, but still some great points in the championship, getting a good points haul over Luke Davies. And what is your thoughts on that race?
Honestly, I mean, just starting the race. Happy just to get a podium. I mean, I've seen the nonsense that happened these last races to me and to Leroy himself. But of course, surprise pole position. I mean, didn't expect it really, but yeah, I do it. But just fucking pissed off on seeing the last lap.
We are live, Thomas. Please keep the language to a minimum.
Is that really a curse word? Okay.
Look,
No. The F one was, not that one.
Okay, I'm just pissed that I lost it again on the last lap, just like Vegas. I mean, yeah, it's just annoying, really. Not much to say.
Well, this is more of a joint question for both yourself and Leroy. Obviously, we saw Thomas go across the gravel at turn 11 and Leroy come out ahead. Was there a tactical swap before the start-finish line? Because obviously, Thomas, you finished second.
I mean, I think Leroy just saw that I was leading almost the entire race, and he was like, "Yeah, you can have P2." There was no tactical things set between us, and he just let me back through. So that was it, really.
Brendan, any questions from you?
Yeah. Obviously, you and Tyler Bastini were playing pretty much a DRS chicken for a lot of the race. Was it running into your head then? Did it change a lot of things in your head when you saw that it wasn't Bastili who was going for you, or even Leroy? It was Tyler Davison, because he had been. Did you have any idea that he might be able to go for you, attack you a bit more since he had been sat back and forth, or were you just going to treat him the same as Bastili?
So you mean that I will treat the same as
Basically, since Davison had been sat in fourth for most of the race and not done much, would you have treated him differently? Would you have expected
I mean, I know
levels to be different?
I know Tyler's a clean driver. I'm not scared of him doing anything crazy to me. No, I mean, I'm more scared of other people in the league. I know Tyler will never kill me. So yeah, I mean, yes, I will treat Tyler differently, I guess, Davison, because I know he will not kill me. So.
Yeah. By the way, we've also had a disaster with Tyler Pastilli and Tyler Davison battling for most of the race. Please change your names, lads. But thank you very much, Thomas, for that one. We will head now to Leroy. Leroy, 10th for third, not maybe a race win or second. Still a very good performance from you. What was your thoughts on that one?
Yeah, well, qualia was nowhere, so that was quite surprising to me because I did think 8.8 would have been. Oh, sorry, I did an 8.9, I think. It would have been better than P10, but yeah, I was quite surprised still. In time trial, I did set a better lap, so it was quite disappointing to drive an 8.9. Then on to the race. Start was quite decent. Yeah, with the safety cars, it was quite hectic as well. But I had the pace, and I stayed with the front group again. And then in the end, I got front wing damage as I tried to overtake Tyler Pastilli, and he just, well, to me, he just turned into me. So I got front wing damage, and well, that quite ruined my race. But I managed to stay with the guys in front, so that was quite good from myself, if I may say so. And then, yeah, P3. And in the end, as Thomas said, I just let him go because he had the entire race. That's pretty much it.
Brendan, any questions from your side?
With the mediums, obviously you were doing very well to keep up, but do you think it was the right call in the? There was maybe if you had been on the hard tire instead, maybe the way it worked out, that you could have been on the hard tire, you could have maybe won the race or even been in P2, or do you think it just made a little difference in the end?
I think the tire didn't make really a difference. I think it's purely the wing damage because the moment I got the wing damage, I had full ERS. So I was quite confident. I had the pace, not obviously aiming for the win. I also had Lewis as engineer, which really helped a lot. But yeah, I don't think the tire really made the difference. It's just the wing damage that quite ruined the pace there. And as you saw, I got immediately overtaken by Tyler in the AlphaTauri. So yeah, that was quite disappointing, but still happy with P3 in the end.
Well, thank you very much, Leroy. Do appreciate your thoughts on this one. Ladies and gentlemen, that was once again a very interesting race. We thank you very much for your support, of course, on the broadcast and on all our social channels. Make sure you do check out our Instagram and Twitter for all updates based on that race. There will be a few penalties. I'm pretty much assured on that. Maybe not for anyone in the relevant positions, but there'll probably be a few. So you'll want to be kept up to date on that one. Thank you very much for joining us. From myself and Brendan, we will leave you with a word from our title sponsors, Simulus Clothing, and we shall catch you next week. We have one more race before then a week break, but we have a very interesting expedition next time out. Stay safe, stay well, and bye-bye. This program is brought to you by Simulus Clothing, official title sponsors of Formula Virtual Racing. But wait, there's more. Check out the official Formula Virtual Racing merchandise line out now exclusively to Simulus Clothing. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the program.